Okay, let's do something that should feel pretty easy now because we've done it a couple of times. Here, you loaned $14,000 cash to Stratford Provisions, so you're doing the loaning of cash to someone else. In exchange for that, you received a 90-day note that pays interest at 9.75% per year, okay? Per year. That's important, just like before. So let's go ahead and just set up our note. We know we're going to have a note receivable from Stratford. So we'll get our notes receivable there. And what we're going to be due is $14,600. Notice we're not doing any kind of interest or anything like this, because right now all we're accounting for is this event. November 11th, loaned cash, shoved it across the table, got a note back. At that point, when the cash has been shoved across the table and you get a piece of paper that's a note back, nothing has been earned. Nothing has been accrued. Okay? Um, and then, of course, if we are going to receive a notes receivable, notice here you loaned cash. So when you loan cash, cash is going to correspondingly drop. Okay? Again, pretty easy. Different from the other one where you're swapping an accounts receivable for a notes receivable. Here, you're just paying cash and getting a notes receivable. Now we'll come over here, we're going to accrue some interest. Okay, so now some time has actually passed. Pay close attention to what it's saying. It says use 365 days in the interest calculation. That's an important point you want to remember as you work through this problem. Okay, so get into the habit. When you're working this kind of problem, just like we did before, calculate the interest that the note here would have for an entire year. So let's take 14,600 for 90 days. Excuse me, for an entire year. 14,600. Come over here, 14,600. Okay, and go ahead and calculate that for a year. This will make your life easier. And this is a note at 9.75 for 90 days. This is 9.75, and that's for 90 days. But before we start getting into the 90-day business, we're going to calculate how much it is for an entire year. Okay, remember this is 9.75%. If you want to make your life easier, slide it over to the left twice. 1, 2, put a point there, put a 0 here, and then you don't have to worry about this. Okay, so that's going to be $14,600 multiplied by 0.0975. That means that for an entire year, you're going to have 1,400 and 2350. Let's call it 1424. Okay, and that's again the 14,600 times 0.0975. Okay, that's 1423.50. We're going to round up to 1424. So this is an entire year. Okay, most importantly, this is for 365 days. If I can write, there. This is for 365 days, which equals a year, right? So, an easy way to deal with this is you can take 1424, divide it by 365 days, and see what our amount is. We got 1424 divided by 365 days gives us $3.90 roughly per day. Okay, this is per day. This is how much interest is earned per day. Okay, we'll come back to this in a second. So we are sitting, it's been November 11th. Let me put a calendar up here right quick. And let's go to November 11th. November 11th is sitting here. So let's count the number of days from November 11th when the note was issued to December 31st when we're accruing interest on this note. In other words, we're saying we're due this, we need to book something. Okay, so let's go ahead and count the number of days. This is when the event happened, so let's start counting days. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, So we have 19 days in November. I'll just stick it right here. Okay, come back here. I know there's a faster way to do this. I'm just trying to be very, very explicit so you can see what's happening. I know everybody is not equally good with math. Then December's easy. We're going to accrue basically 31 days. You see, this December has 31 days, so we have 31 days. For a total of 50 days. Okay? So if we take this interest, this is the total dollars that this note generates in interest. Let's put dollars here. If it's $1,424 per year, and that's for 365 days, if we want to know how much 50 days earns, what we do is we take $1,424 and multiply it by 50 over 365. Okay, so this is a fraction, right? This is 50 divided by 365. That's how many days we want to do an accrual for. So this is a full year. We multiply it by 50 over 365, that fraction. Easiest way to do that, by the way, is to take 1424 and divide it by, multiply it by 50 and then divide that by 365. And you come up with $195.06. So let's come over here. Round your final calculations to the nearest whole dollar. Okay, so if we got $195.06, we're going to call this $195. And we do 195, 195. Okay, what we're trying to book, remember, is interest revenue, so we're trying to recognize our interest revenue. And we're not actually collecting this. This is interest receivable. Okay? And this is how you accrue for, notice the trick here is you're not doing a nice, neat 2 months. We couldn't take the 1424 and multiply it by 2 and divide by 12. 2 months over 12 is 2/12 of a year. We couldn't do that because of this messiness of a little bit of, from November 11th to November 30th was 19 days, and then the full 31 of December gives us 50 days. So we take the full year's amount. This is why it's easier to get the full year's amount. You multiply it by the number of days that you're actually having question, 50, and then divide by 365. That's the same as multiplying by the fraction 50 over 365. And that's how you basically accrue interest from the time of November 11th to December 31st. I hope you found this useful.